Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Humanities, SOH. Certificate in the Teaching of English as a Second Language, CTE, revised. Optional. CTE 105 Teaching English Secondary School. Block 1 The Role of the Learner and the Teacher. Unit 3 Helping the Learner to be Autonomous, 3.0 Objectives. In this unit we will be shifting the focus from what to how, examining how to do procedures for learner autonomy, suggesting material and evaluation procedures for learner autonomy. 3.1 Introduction. Deepti is an autonomous learner. She has the willingness and capacity to learn on her own. She is in class 8. One day, the teacher gave her class a task. In groups of 4, the students had to discuss who their favorite woman leader was and tell the class about her. The focus was on justifying their choice from among 4 leaders. There were cue cards that included a few biographical details and 2 quotes each by the 4 women. When it was Deepti's turn, she summed up Mrs. Gandhi's life and concluded it by linking her life to what Mrs. Gandhi had said. One of the quotes was about forgiving the sinner. Deepti said that Mrs. Gandhi must have had a number of enemies because of her position and she must have forgiven them. And hence, what she said must have come from her own experiences. The class teacher said, next, and moved on. Quite a few students simply read or summed up what they had found in their cues. Then, it was Nalini's turn. She spoke about Mother Teresa. She too related what the holy nun said meant in her life. To be autonomous, the learner has to know what to learn and how to learn it too. They must also feel responsible enough to learn, which involves a good deal of willingness and a readiness to take risk. 3.2 Autonomous Learning, Teachers. Role. In the situation we just examined, only 2 learners understood learning in the right sense. Although the teacher did not appreciate or comment on what Deepti had done, Nalini learned how she might approach the task from her classmate. She could perceive the difference in the quality of the presentations made by Deepti and the rest of her class. Then, she made a conscious choice and chose to do something similar to what Deepti had done. The example illustrates how an autonomous learner demonstrates I. A willingness to learn, E. a realization that learning is their own responsibility, E. an ability to make choices, and IV. the courage to take risk. Neither Deepti nor Nalini might be able to consciously analyze what they have done, but they constructed effective discourse. This shows their awareness of the parameters for not just the presentation but communication itself. They need guidance to become conscious of what makes their response appealing. It will help them transfer the knowledge to other areas of communication. Only an autonomous learner teacher can give this kind of support. 3.3 Procedures for supporting autonomous learning. What is learning? In the context of a language classroom, learning may be understood as becoming aware of certain cognitive processes and demonstrating the awareness through language use. We as teachers may use different procedures and supportive material that encourage this approach. For example, we can develop a few paragraphs on the blackboard together with the class if we want to teach them paragraph writing. Students soon take charge if we give them time to think, comment on and justify choices, and value their contributions. The accompanying discussion will familiarize them with the parameters for evaluating their own paragraphs. We can also start the activity after giving the students a checklist for writing a paragraph. Students may also select paragraphs from any subject and discuss them in class. Such activities guide the learner to appreciate the cognitive processes involved in developing their potential to think and communicate independently as well in collaboration with others. 3.4 Materials to encourage autonomous learning. Miss Devi likes to experiment with different kinds of materials. One day she read a story to the class and asked them to write it in groups of 3. She gave 2 sample beginnings and told them to share their first sentences with the class. Her examples were, it would never have happened if he hadn't been to his friend's birthday party. Do you ever wonder what happened to the passenger you met on a train journey last year? In 10 minutes, students began to respond and the teacher got 6 different beginnings on the blackboard. The discussion focused on how the stories should be continued. Such classroom procedures illustrate how we may shift our focus from what to how. Consider the following activity as another case in point. The textbook included a speech and a few comprehension questions which addressed only the content of the text. To teach the class the how of a speech, Miss Devi designed a few activities which included the following questions. The speaker narrates two experiences to drive his point home. Can you replace them with your own to give the same message? If you are giving a speech, will you give the message or a story first? Or will you alternate a story with the message throughout the speech? Can you think of any famous people's sayings or lines from poems that may be appropriate? Where will you insert them in the speech? Only a few of her students are willing to take responsibility for their learning now, and Miss Devi knows it. Like many other teachers, she also thinks that others must be shown the direction now. 3.5 Evaluation procedures for autonomous learning. Formative evaluation, as we all know, informs us about how individual students are progressing in relation to the target learning outcomes. What is most often neglected is how it may be used to teach the learner what to learn and how to learn it. In other words, formative evaluation procedures, if designed and implemented to help students, can guide them to learn independently. Instead of treating them as testing tools, we may use them to support learning. The following situation and the teacher's response helps us understand her attitude to formative evaluation. The teacher evaluated and returned the answer scripts. Quite a few students thought that they had done their internal assessment reasonably well and felt disappointed by the marks they were given. When the class was over, a few of them followed her to the staff room. After a good deal of hesitation, one of them came up and asked the only question they all wanted to ask. Teacher, I expected a higher score for this question. Have I not answered it correctly? The teacher said, the answer is correct, but you have not organized it well. Her other comments were on vocabulary, grammar, paragraphing, handwriting, etc. The students felt discouraged and no wiser. She also carefully defended and justified all her evaluation procedures. She discussed every response, answered all their questions patiently, and added a few marks here and there. They left feeling better. Teacher 3.6 Authentic materials and autonomous learning. Most often, learning does not happen as soon as something is taught. Students may do what is expected of them, in terms of answering questions or writing an essay, without actually realizing its significance. They may not be able to relate it to the other things that they have already learnt, although the textbook planners expect them to. There are other times when we introduce a new point of learning, and students happen to understand something that we had taught some time ago. Learning does not happen in a linear fashion. More so, in a language learning context. Consider the following examples. The student stood up and said excitedly, now, I know when to use the past perfect tense. The teacher was surprised because she had taught the tense more than a month ago and she scored 100% in her grammar test soon after that. So, the teacher asked her to explain what she meant. And this was her reply. For my history project, I read an essay on our struggle for independence, and in the geography class we read about the continental drift. I learned about them and learned the past perfect too. The incident shows that the teacher's instruction made sense only after the learner had the opportunity to notice the use of the tense in materials outside the English classroom. It also illustrates, among many other things, the joy of independent learning. Indeed, the opportunities we create in the classroom are restricted in number and nature too. Therefore, the focus has to be on the how of learning, and this cannot be done without depending on the authentic material that is available outside the classroom. Identifying the source of learning and the points to be learnt are the two kinds of guidance the learner will find useful. This is best done when we focus more on discourse and less on discrete elements. Learning to use vocabulary is more important than learning about words in isolation. Similarly, learning to use tenses appropriately is more important than learning the rules. Authentic material creates innumerable opportunities for showing the learner the right direction. The more we relate such material to their background knowledge, the richer the student's autonomous learning beyond the classroom. And the Classroom has to be the lab where they experiment with their learning in a productive form with the teacher and peer support. Here is an example of how we may bring different kinds of discourse, activate cognitive processes, and shift them from the path of autonomous comprehension to autonomous production. Read the beginning of the poem Granny's Tree Climbing by Ruskin Bond and try to think of the usual questions that follow it. My grandmother was a genius. You'd like to know why? Because she could climb trees. Spreading or high, she'd be up their branches in a trice. And mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. Ever since childhood, she'd had this gift for being happier in a tree than in a lift. And, though, as years went by, she would be told that climbing trees should stop when one grew old, and that growing old should be gone about gracefully, she'd laugh and say, well, I'll grow old disgracefully. Our students usually answer questions such as the following. 1. Why is the poetic persona's grandmother a genius? 2. How old was she? 3. What does she like to do? 4. What gift did she have? 5. What do people tell her? Does she agree with them? Now, reflect on the following question. This is a news report on Lata Khare who participated in a marathon. Imagine that she is your grandmother and write a story or poem on her. If you would prefer to, imagine that you saw the marathon and write a letter to a friend. Whatever you write, your purpose is to highlight what you admire in the winner retrieved on the 17th of July 2018. The next day, Baramati Marathon was about to commence. Everyone lined up, geared up in their sports shoes, snazzy shorts and tracks, sweat-absorbing tees. And there she was, the 65-year-old Lata Bhagwan Khare, wearing a torn sari. Indian traditional wear, barefooted, tears in her eyes. She argued with the organizers. They were not ready to break rules and let her participate in the marathon. She pleaded, she begged, and her sincere emotional appeal touched their hearts and they decided to approve her participation just for a lark, not even giving her a ghost of a chance to win. The organizers playfully cheered her, go for it auntie. The marathon started, and she hitched her sari just above her ankles. She ran like a wizard, truly a dream run, like a 16-year-old. People standing alongside the path were totally taken aback by this sprightly old lady sprinting and broke into a loud cheer. Lata Khare leaves all other senior citizens far, far behind. She ran like someone possessed. She could just see her husband's life hanging by a slender thread and the winning amount in front of her eyes. She didn't care about the hard gravel and pebbles on her way. Her feet bled, but she just ran. 3.7 letters sum UP. Learning involves a great deal of cognitive processing and it is a lifelong process. If we learn about how to do something, we will acquire the confidence to do it. The awareness reduces anxiety and helps us focus on the task on hand. We will be able to improve our performance over a period of time and transfer our learning to doing other things too. In this context, the first step a teacher takes is understand the various steps necessary for participating in a communicative event. Then, she evolves procedures to raise the student's consciousness of the steps. Thus, the whole process is set in motion, helping the learner to be autonomous. In other words, the teacher has 3 responsibilities: become a conscious learner, break down learning the how into teachable steps, and create activities to nurture responsible learning. An autonomous learner teacher appreciates them and adopts independent learning practices. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.